Have you caught anything, man?
No. Have you caught anything?
No. Man, this sucks.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a second. I think I got something. It's
a shoe!
Dibs. No, listen, man.
Hey, I want it.
Oh, no, I caught it.
Give me the shoe.
No, man, it's mine. I saw it
It
first.
fits my foot, though. Look, it's a 10.
No, it's totally a 12, dude. It totally fit
I wear
me.
10. Look at this.
No, listen, it's my shoe. I saw it first.
Mine.
No, I caught it.
I made the fishing pole.
I think my
fuck you.
I'm
I hate
gonna
you.
beat your ass. I'm gonna kill you. Fuck you up. Ow, it's my leg. No. Hello and welcome to Podcast Away. I'm your host, Logan.
And I am your other host, Sam.
How you doing today, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hella tired, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm finally out of college. Finals happened, which is why there was a small break. But now we're both back. It's summertime. We're enjoying the nice sunshine.
Sun's out, guns out.
Sun's out. Yeah, we're both wearing bro tanks while we're recording. Yeah, very true. So, Sam, I knew this ever since we were kids, but you have one talent that I cannot touch with a 10-foot pole. You are musically inclined. Like, I can't do music at all. Like, I can't play, I can't sing, I can't do any of that. I'm just too retarded. But you got, like, a talent for it.
I mean...
Don't be humble.
I like to yell at stuff.
Yeah. Well, you do some playing, too, don't you? What instruments do you play?
A little bit of bass, a little bit of drums. I'm better at drums, not quite as good at bass. I'm still figuring that out. Strings elude me.
Yeah, but what do you enjoy the most?
Definitely doing the vocal work.
Yeah, so you're a singer, basically.
Oh, yeah. I do some metal vocals, so I do some growling and some screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when did you realize that you really liked music?
If I had to pick a very first starting point would probably be whenever I played one of those Guitar Hero games whenever they first came out.
Oh my god, I remember this. You were so fucking good.
Those games were so awesome. I got stupid good because I played the absolute shit out of them.
You were stupid good at Guitar Hero. I remember this. You'd be able to play like the hardest songs, the hardest difficulty, and just fucking shred it.
I'm just like, and then you transfer that to real instruments, and I can't fucking touch a guitar like that at all. Guitar Hero was probably the start of it all. If I had to pick a single point in my life.
Really? That's amazing.
So I was like, damn, look at these bands going around from venue to venue. That's cool. Oh, look, these guys just signed a deal with the devil in this game, and now you got to go guitar battle him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's pretty fucking jamming.
Yeah. Yeah, Guitar Hero 3, it gets, it's not appreciated for the cool, like, theme or story behind it of, like, what's a cooler boss fight than fucking having a guitar duel with the devil himself? Like, that's
and he's
awesome.
like an old burnout devil
mm-hmm.
with like a leather vest and like he's balding.
He's like an old rocker.
Got a goatee and sunglasses on.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But still red with like the hooves and horns and everything.
So how old were you when we were playing Guitar Hero 3?
Oh, Jesus Christ. We were probably like 10 or 11.
I was going to say like 10. Yeah. So you were about...
I think I started on like Guitar Hero 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then whenever 3 came out is when I got fucking way up there because I started playing the absolute shit out of that one.
Mm-hmm. So it was around like 10 years old that you realized that that you loved Guitar Hero and loved playing it.
I loved music, man.
Music that's when it clicked for you.
And then getting my first MP3 player, I don't fucking remember when that was. But my brother loaded it up with a bunch of songs and he's just like, hey, I want to put this band on here. Tell me if you like them. If you do, I'll add some more stuff like them. It was a band As I Lay Dying, and they're a fucking dope metal band. I fucking love them.
Mm-hmm.
That kicked up my interest into metal and the like. Mm-hmm. More technical shit and, you know.
So your brother was like a pre-gen, like Spotify recommends.
Yeah, he's just like, hey,
if you like this music,
take this.
We'll feed you more of this.
Yeah, you like this, and I'll give you some more. So I was just like, dude, this band is fucking dope. And he added a couple more on there. I can't remember what all they were, but it was a bunch of like old metalcore bands like Devil Wears Prada.
I mean,
and shit like
you
that.
and all your brothers kind of have like the same like taste in music, though, don't you?
Well, me and Trevor do. And then my brother Brandon's probably the next closest, but he's a lot more along the lines of like rock and punk and stuff like that. He doesn't listen to as much metal. He listens to rap and shit as well, too. And then my brother Luke, to be honest, I don't really know what the hell kind of music he listens to.
Right.
I don't see him enough, but...
I mean, I think probably Trevor is probably the biggest influence on you, right? Out of the lot.
Oh yeah, and we kind of go back and forth because like we've always been into the same kind of music. So like I'll find a song and I'll be like, "Hey, you should check this band out," and he'll be like, "Okay," goes and checks it out and ends up liking the whole album.
Yeah.
And then he'll do the same for me. Like he'll send me a song and I'll end up checking out the whole album, and it's just like good shit.
Yeah. You guys kind of have like similar personalities, and I think if I'm right, he's the closest to you in age, right? So you guys spent the most time together out of the brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is,
So he had the
yeah, out of my brothers, he's the closest. But,
yeah, so you guys have had the most time to like meld together.
Well, yeah.
So.
Plus, we shared a room for God knows how many years. It was like,
oh fuck yeah, as you do when you're a kid.
Yeah, probably till I was like 14-ish, 13 or 14, something like that.
Yeah. What do you think inspired your like entire family's taste in like super heavy music?
I don't know really,
because I can take a guess.
I mean, my parents were always into like you know, the older like rock bands like Rush and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that when they were younger, and then as they got older, they kind of shifted into like Christian contemporary crappy music, like Joy FM style shit.
Yeah.
And then found some Christian rock that they played, and I started listening to rock on there. And then the Tony Hawk games came out, and Guitar Hero came out.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk had the best soundtrack ever.
Yeah.
You get on those games, and you just hear all these different rock and metal tracks, and it's just like, hell yeah. So started listening to all that stuff, and then I actually ended up getting my parents into a lot of heavier stuff as well.
Over time or like immediately?
Oh, just over time. Like they gradually would step into something like the heaviest band they would listen to for a while was Cutlass, and they're like hard alternative rock. That's about it. But then my mom started like getting on Pandora and looking up bands like that, and she would find more like I think her favorite one right now is Death Clock. Or not Death Clock. Why am I saying Death Clock? Disregard that. We're going to cut that.
Okay, we'll cut that.
I think her favorite one right now is Demon Hunter.
Right.
God damn it. Give me a second.
What's the issue? Am I missing something?
Death Clock is a completely far different band.
Okay.
It made me just like lose my shit for a second because Demon Hunter is a Christian metal band and Death Clock is a goofy ass brutal metal band.
Right. So, okay, gotcha. Okay. So I don't really know the difference. I'm not super into the same genre.
Oh yeah.
I'm still a baby when it comes to my music taste because for a long time I actually didn't even listen to music really. Like I had a super limited selection. This was before, you know, like I could just go on get like the apps and stuff because in the Midwest we didn't even get high-speed internet. It wasn't even available to us until very recently.
It took so long.
Yeah, so like my music taste is very, very limited.
I remember back when we would hang out and like I'd have my MP3 player with me, just like loaded up with shit, and like I'd play something. And I don't think you like ever had music in your car or anything.
Not
like,
really.
We would drive around or shit. And then now you got a pretty dope playlist loaded up, I will say.
Thank you. It's something that I have to like actively work on because, you know, when you're young, you have like all the time in the world to listen to music all day long. But for me now, like I have to kind of split my time because usually it's like my time I'm driving around or like if I'm just doing stuff around the house, right? But I try to split my time between like podcasts and music because I'll have days where like I don't feel like listening to any podcasts. I'd listen to music, or I have days where I don't feel like listening to music, you know. So yeah, I try my best, and I usually the best thing about being my age and having like little to no real expertise in music tastes is that I have to use the people I'm around to judge whether or not the song is good enough to listen to. Like I'll be in the car and I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this band? And if they hit me with the pass or the the smash, basically,
no,
yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. You know, it was cool in 2003, but you know we're adults now. I'm like, okay, so you know, don't play that one. So it's stuff like that. So is that bad because I'm letting other people influence my music? Possibly, but isn't that what music's all about? Is like other people's influences and stuff, you know?
Oh yeah, and I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to sit in a car and listen to a song that I didn't want to hear.
That's also
like,
true.
I feel like that's a gracious, nice thing. Like I try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some times that I'm just like, fuck you, I'm listening to this song because it's my jam.
Oh yeah, I get it. But so going back to your childhood, so you were like, so I'm picturing you as 10 years old, no long hair.
No,
you had a crew cut at this point, right?
I had some short hair back then.
Yeah,
I had like spiky hair or some shit.
Yeah. Oh my god, the best hairstyles. And then you just jam out on Guitar Hero, and you're already like on like the hardest difficulty. At what point did you take the step from that to like, I want to take this to like a real like physical music that I can play outside, kind of thing. Like when did it make that jump? Because I don't even know this.
Honestly, I don't think that was until like high school ish. Like I always kind of fucked around with like the idea of potentially starting a band, but I never really like went and tried to play an instrument or anything like that. And then I got into high school and I got a drum set. I started fucking around with that. I liked that. So I also started messing around with metal vocals a little bit. I started fucking around with metal vocals a little bit.
High school is great because it's a place where you can finally meet people who are mature enough to have their own interests and pursue them. And you can meet other people with the same interests as you.
Oh, yeah.
Because, for example, when I went to make my, like, homebrew board game, I found people easily that were willing to help me with that. Like, when you're young, like, super young, a lot of people don't really have that, like, they don't have the maturity to, like, be ambitious and, like, go out and try those things, you know, those new strange things. So, but when you're in high school, it's, like, the peak age. Because, for one, you have a lot of time, unless you're working.
Yeah,
in which, don't work during your entire high school career, honestly.
Yeah, it's no point.
Yeah, use high school to like network and like, you know, try new things and meet things and try stuff and like hone stuff you like
and relax a little bit before you get into the real world.
Mm-hmm. Of course, if you need the money, but it's all about organizing your time. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's great about high school is that, you know, you can meet people that are around you that agree with you and like they like what you like, and you, most importantly, have the same interests. So these people like help you. And they push you towards what you actually can do. Is that what happened to you? Did you find people that actually helped you out?
Actually, that does kind of bring a reminder of where I was going before. In high school, me and my buddy Jake, you know Jake.
Yeah. I'll bleep that out.
Yeah, Jake Blank.
Yeah.
No, but we started hanging out, and we were into a lot of the same music. Like, we were into a lot of the same, like, metalcore bands. We were into some, like, gay emo shit, you know. The classic, where every metal kid starts. You start
Chemical
with,
Romance.
like, emo gay shit. Yeah, you know. But we were listening to that kind of shit, and we decided we both wanted to try out some vocals, and we were going to start a band with one of our buddies who played bass. We just had to find a drummer and a guitarist.
Oh, cool.
So we started fucking around with vocals, and we both kind of got all right with it, and then we kind of dropped off a little bit. And then he started working with a program and started making, like, beats and shit like that. And I started just, you know, messing more with vocals and trying more with that. I started hanging out with some more buddies who were also interested in stuff. And me and two of my other buddies started, like, pushing each other to get better and better at vocals. So we kept, you know, just bouncing off of each other, bouncing ideas off of each other, and, like, trying to outdo each other, basically pushing each other towards getting better. And I kept with it, and one of them kind of fell off, and the other one, I think he still works on them, honestly. I kept going for a little while, and
okay, so what you're saying is similar to like the people that helped me make my homebrew RPG, and which we're still working on to this day. I still have like a majority of the same people. You were able to like network with people who had the same interests as you, and you're able to kind of
work with them.
Yeah, further it. So, did you guys ever actually like make a band?
We had like name a kind of name, and we had.
Tell me, what was it?
Oh God, I don't even remember what it was.
You don't remember your first band name?
It was something with a Leviathan in it. I remember that. We had that. We had some lyrics written out, but we didn't have any like actual music or anything written down, or anything, you know, written out on an instrument. I think I got my bass sometime before that, but we never really went anywhere with it because we never could find the other people to fill in the spots.
I mean,
so.
You know what that was, right? That was like a high school experience, you know.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you're super hopeful about, and you are going to do this, and then you don't do it.
Well, here's the difference, right? Most people, when they attempt something like that and it doesn't work for the first time, they kind of quit it, right? They move on. But like when you actually have like a passion for it, like it's something that, like, even if you quit it, quote unquote, you always find yourself going back to it at some point in time. You know, you always find yourself thinking about it when you're doing other things, you know, thinking what I could do to improve myself, going back to it, you know. And usually the first time you do it, or first time you try it and it doesn't work out, you know, you take a break from it, you're like, maybe I shouldn't. But then you realize, you know, like, you know what, I really want to do it. So you go back and you try twice as hard, and it usually works out a lot better in your favor.
Oh yeah.
But you always keep coming back to it, you know. You always have that passion for it.
Yeah.
So, with your passion with music, when did you link up with the people you're with now? Because you're in a successful band now.
I would say moderately successful. We got an EP out and we're working on our first album, but
dude, you can listen to your song on Spotify. That's pretty fucking awesome.
I will say it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the earliest that I've known any band member is probably my guitarist Wade. Of all places, we met in a church camp. We met at Bates Creek.
Nice.
And oh god, I don't even remember when it was. It was probably my freshman or sophomore year, or in between my freshman and sophomore, or my sophomore, junior, something like that. And me and him met each other. We talked a little bit. We hung out. Mm-hmm. We followed each other on Twitter, and we would send each other memes and shit every so often, just some funny, stupid shit. And one day out of the blue, he's just like, "Hey, you don't happen to play guitar or do vocals, do you?" And I was just like, "Well, shit, I've been messing around with metal vocals lately." And he's just like, "Well, cool, because that's kind of what we need. You want to try for the band?" And I was like, "Sure thing."
No shit. It happened just like that.
Literally just like that.
Fucking match made in heaven. It happens just like that. It's always like the random circumstance, you know, of like, hey, I need this. I happen to be that. You know, it's always like that. Bates Creek, by the way, we'll tell tons of stories about that when we have a new guest on next time.
Oh yeah,
but tons of good stories about that because we've met some of the most influential people of our lives there.
Some great people.
Yeah, fantastic times. It's hilarious that you got this this like super heavy metal band out of church camp.
Oh hell yeah,
that's awesome. Do you think I mentioned earlier, but I forgot to go back on it, on why I think that your family, well, the brothers of your family have kind of a taste in like heavier, darker? Is that an appropriate term?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to sound like an old man here. A darker music. Is it because of your influences from the church as a child?
Probably the kind of an opposite of influence from the church, if that makes sense. Like the church influenced us in a way that pushed us away from it.
I mean, it's still an influence, but it was a negative influence, I guess.
Yeah, more or less.
Because your dad was a pastor for a while.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it.
No, story for another day. One story at a time. But we're talking about your passion for music. So do you think that like the iron fist of the church, like pushing you and your brothers down, made you guys kind of almost go in the opposite direction? Because you always say, you know, like the strictest parents make the sneakiest kids. That's what they always say.
It was more just like we had to go to church every week for like up until, you know, however old, until we had a job or whatever. And man, you just get bored when you have to go every Sunday. It's just like, why am I even here at this point? I don't want to be here, so what's the point of me being here?
Right.
It's like the whole point of church is you should want to go. If you don't want to go, then don't be there.
Right. So besides the church having an influence on you, so at this point in the story of your passion for music, you've met Wade, and he's hit you up for the tryouts. What were the tryouts like?
Well, I pretty much just recorded a vocal cover of a Veil of Maya song. That's probably still up on YouTube somewhere, honestly.
Nice.
But I sent them the link to that, and they were just like, "Yeah, sounds good. You should come to a practice." And then I went to a practice.
And at this point in time, you've only been in one fake high school band, like half band.
Yeah, I hadn't
so you had half
done
members.
anything.
You're not professional in any instruments.
Just kind of been fucking around with vocals on my own.
But yeah, you can do vocals.
Can do some growling.
And this band who's had everybody they need except the vocals hits you up. That's like the fucking stars kind of shit, dude. That's like hell yeah. That's like fate, you know.
Yeah, I think that's why we're still going and why our shit keeps getting better too.
Yeah. So
not to be cocky, but man, the fucking dudes in my band, like they are some legendary instrument players. I swear to God.
It's not being cocky though. It's appreciating what you have. Like it's not. Listen, you can be confident and be appreciative, right? If you build a giant stone statue and you're like, yeah, it's fantastic. That's not being cocky. That's knowing what you got.
It's like, check out that badass stone statue.
Exactly, man. You guys worked really fucking hard to get where you're at today. That's something to be proud of. That's not being cocky. I'd be more pissed if you
say.
sat here and undersold them. You know what I'm saying?
And we're still pushing it. Like the next album that we got coming out is gonna stomp all over the EP.
Awesome.
Like I like the EP a lot. Man, this next album is absolutely just atrocious in comparison. And then the one after that, we've already got music worked on for that, is gonna tear that shit away too. It's just gonna fucking.
That's what it's all about, though, right? Like
getting better and better.
That's what it's all about. Like just the continual improvement.
Oh yeah, you gotta keep moving. You gotta always keep improving.
Okay, so at this point in the story, you've done the EPs. I'm sorry, wrong. You've done the interview or the test or whatever.
Yeah.
You've tried out for the band. And then they accepted you. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it was after that first practice. Honestly, so they were just like, yeah, I mean, sounds good to me.
Okay.
They'd been looking for people for a while and couldn't quite find somebody who could fit the range that they were looking for.
Sure. So, by the way, this stuff fascinates me because like it's an industry that I have no clue about, but just I love hearing stories about groups of people getting together that have like different talents, but they combine all their talents into creating one thing.
Into making something.
Yeah, into making something that's far above what they could do alone. Like that is literally like the story of humanity itself.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that is like a classic recreation of it. It's like a tiny like microscopic version of it. It's like, 3 or 4 dudes, yeah. But it's still a perfect example of it. So At this point, you guys are all together. Do you really know each other besides you and Wade?
Not really, and even then, I only really knew Wade because we literally talked once. It was like the last day of that week of camp.
Okay, so what's the next step? What happens after that?
So after that, we practiced and wrote music for probably a solid year.
And was this your sophomore year of high school?
I think
roughly?
I think at this point this was my like late junior year, I want to say.
Okay, so you were 16, 17.
Yeah.
So you weren't a kid anymore, really.
No, I was a little bit older, a little bit
more experience. You've had some years to practice.
Oh yeah. And
6 years of Guitar Hero to hone your skills.
You gotta hone your music craft with Guitar Hero before anything.
Yeah.
No, but so at this point, we were pretty much writing and practicing for a year. We had like 14 songs, I think, finished. We ended up scrapping a lot of them because they just bored us to play. Like, they were all just really simple, easy. Like, our first EP was supposed to be an album of, like, 14, 13 tracks, something like that. And we cut all but 5. And those 5 are what is on the EP.
Right.
So there's a couple songs that will probably never be heard again because they were way too simple and they just bored us to play because they were a few simple notes and you know how it is. But anyway, well, maybe not. But
were those songs like you guys just kind of practicing like the chemistry of the band, like seeing like what kind of testing the like waters a bit?
Whenever we started the band, we started out a lot more whenever they started the band, they were straight up thrash. Whenever I joined the band, it got a little heavier just because I had, the more growling vocals and stuff like that. So we were like heavier thrash. I mean, we had like they had some progression to it, and but it was heavier thrash metal. So the first things that we wrote were really fast, but they were simple and they were really thrashy. And they were fun, and then as we started to write more songs for the album, we started to realize that we wanted to go a different route. So we went a little bit more progressive, a little bit more groovy, a little bit more technical, and so we ended up cutting all but these last 5 songs that we ended up writing for this EP, or for this album. The earliest song on like the EP, the earliest one out of all of those that was written was the song SALOC.
What was it?
It's called SALOC.
Okay.
It's an acronym, but I'm not going to say what for because it's a secret.
Nice.
But, shit, where was I going with that?
You telling me about your first EP.
Yeah, so anyway, we had it down to 5 songs. We cut most of them, and we kind of moved towards a more progressive technical stage. With this next album, I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but we are going a much more progressive route with the whole thing. It gets really heavy at some points, really slow at some points, real melodic, but mostly it's just fucking progressive and awesome. I'm excited for it.
So, looping back a little bit, what is a typical band practice for you guys?
Well, usually me showing up late because I'm late to everything.
Yep. Fantastic.
We jam out some new stuff or just jam on whatever, and then we'll play through a couple of our songs. We usually play through the set list of our next upcoming show at least once. And then after that, lately we've been writing lyrics for the next album. And the next album is going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a lot more advanced. And we're all working on all working on lyrics together, because I'm all right at writing lyrics. I'm a pretty decent lyricist. But with this album, it's got a kind of overall theme to it, and we want to keep it all, we all want to write it together because we all want to get the same thing. And I very much enjoy having their input, because it keeps me from getting, writer's block, getting stumped at one point and sitting on a song for, months on end and not being able to figure out where to go after the first verse or second verse or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so at this point in the story, you guys have just started playing together. You just met, pretty much. What was the time frame from learning to play together as a band and figuring out what you guys could do and couldn't do until like the next big milestone?
I would say it was probably another 5 or 6 months at least, and then we ended up going and getting some like band photos taken, and
I remember
we got a logo drawn out, an old logo. It looks so crappy in comparison to the one that we have now. But we had an old logo, and had that put up on everything. And then once we got that going, started focusing a little bit more on the music, getting everything there tightened up. And then we decided to book a show. So we booked our first show at this little bar in St. Louis. It's called Just Bill's Place, I want to say. Great place, but there's a big ass pole in the middle of the stage. It's great. I almost rocked my head off of it 3 times, and I didn't even realize it until afterwards when somebody told me. But so yeah, we tightened up our shit, and we ended up going and playing there. That was our first show. That was probably after about a year of playing together, I would say, like after a year of practicing and writing music.
You know about this subject more than I do, but isn't that a lot farther than what like 80% of bands make it?
I would say so.
Like I think most bands never leave the garage. They end up breaking up like 6 months later, right?
I forgot about another band that I had prior to it. I don't remember the name for this one either. There was one that it was me and my brother, and then my buddies John and Kevin. We started up a band, and me, Trevor, and John would all switch positions. Like, all of us would switch positions on what we were playing in the band at the time. So, like, on one song, I'd be on drums, and Kevin would be on bass. John would be on guitar. Trevor would be doing vocals. And then, like, another song, I'd be on bass, Kevin's on guitar, John's on drums, Trevor's on vocals, or
right.
I'd be on
Was this
vocals.
your guys' like shtick that like were the like the rotating band?
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
And we didn't really stick to one genre. We played one show, and then after that, never even like really hung out much after that. Like me and John would hang out one-on-one. Or like me, him, and Trevor would hang out occasionally. I think I hung out with Kevin a couple more times after that, but like we never got together as a band.
Did the show go really bad, or
no? It was a pretty decent show. We just after that, for some reason, we all ended up having things just like terribly distract our lives. Like John got a job where he was working like 10 to 12 hours a day or some bullshit, like doing construction shit. So he was never like in the mood to do anything. Like he'd get home and just collapse and go to sleep. So, and I mean that's. Kind of sucks when you're drummer / guitarist. It kind of drops out, and then the rest of us just couldn't. We couldn't do it. Like I mean, me and Trevor could kind of do stuff, but
no, the band
can't do a 2-man
band. The band
band
was fractured at that point. I get it.
So that split up, but yeah. So that being said, the band that I'm in currently did get a lot farther than even that one, because we played that first show and we even had a fuck up on stage, and it was in the middle of a song. My one guitarist steps forward and his amp came unplugged, and we all kept playing and kept doing the song, and he looked back and he's just like, oh shit, goes back, plugs it back in, and immediately just starts picking it back up from where he left off.
That
like
is
from
what it's
where
all
it goes.
about, man. The show has to go on.
And after that show, that was just an awesome show. We had like a turnout. I think we ourselves brought 30 people to that show. After we got off stage, most of the crowd left. But I mean, they were all people that were like friends and family. So
Yeah.
But regardless, it's a little local show.
Yeah, 30 people for your first show. That's probably pretty fucking good.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a solid turnout.
And then after that, we've just been like booking shows here and there every now and then in St. Louis, just playing, working on our stuff. After I want to say 2 or 3 years, we ended up releasing the album.
Yeah. So at this point in time, you guys have had your first
EP,
show.
I mean,
it went well enough to where you're invited back, which is a pretty good point too. And you go back to the same place. You get invited to a couple new places, all local, right? But it's still different.
Primarily.
That's how you get yourself out there.
We've gone to a couple places out of St. Louis. Like we've gone to, we've played in Columbia. We've played in Texas. We almost played in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about your guys' first tour, or is there anything else?
I'm gonna go ahead and leave the tour for a different time because that's a long story.
Okay, sure.
It was a little mini tour, a 5-day, a little mini trial tour, pretty much, but didn't go as planned. I'll just leave it at that for right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so you guys are playing all your shows. You're rocking it. You're tightening up your shit. You're getting more unity amongst the band. You guys are all starting to vibe with each other even more. You know, just the music is there. You guys are playing awesome shows. You're continuing to draw in people because these places keep inviting you back and allowing you to perform. At what point was the idea struck up of we should probably get something out there for people to listen to?
It took us a while. We were playing shows for probably at least a year or two. Let's see, because as of the 14th, that will have been the 1-year anniversary of our EP. So yeah, we were playing shows for about 2 to 3 years before we decided to record and release we wanted to record and release it a lot sooner because we wanted to release that whole 15-track album or however many tracks. But we couldn't get the money together for that, so we got together enough money to do a 5-track EP because it is fucking expensive to record an album.
What is the pricing range like, actually?
Don't quote me on this because I have horrible memory, especially with numbers.
Well, just in your experience.
But I think it was in the thousands somewhere.
Okay.
Like roughly 3,000 to 5,000, somewhere in that range.
Oh, wow.
I think. I don't know. I could be way highballing it. I could be way lowballing it. Again, the specifics elude me. I just remember it was not cheap. Unless you're like signed with a place, as far as I know, unless you're signed, it's very difficult to get a cheap recording for an album unless you want shit quality.
And you don't want that.
No, you do not.
What's the point, right? If your music sounds like shit and you're recording, then
yeah,
we
had a couple demos before the EP. I forgot about that. We had a couple we had a single and then a 2-track demo, and they're both all right, but they were just not the quality. I mean, they were both done in different basement studios, so imagine the quality there. Like, yeah, you can get some great basement studio quality sometimes, but I mean, come on.
What you mean.
In the Midwest, in the middle of a backwoods town, no. But
that'd be a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But so we had those 2 mediocre quality demos, and we got the EP out after 2 or 3 years of playing. And now it's been about a year after that, and we've been working on the next album. And most of the I would say most, if not all, of the music part of the album is done. We just got to work on lyrics. We got a lot of lyrics to write, though we have made a decent amount of headway.
Excellent. So yeah,
which is good.
So you recorded the album. That must have been fun.
Yeah, that was a fucking blast. There is I think that's probably the most fun that we've had. I mean, aside from
the shows.
Yeah, the shows are absolutely just incredible. Getting up on stage, there's not a feeling like it in the world, I don't think.
No, there's never.
But yeah, recording the album was great. We recorded at this place in St. Louis called Fat Buddha, and they've recorded a couple pretty sweet artists. I think they've had you know what, I'm not even going to go into that because I'm not even 100% sure. So
yeah, don't go into that then. Okay, so you guys recorded the album and then you released it, right? You had like the physical discs, and you also had them on Spotify. And was it on what other music sources?
We got it out on Spotify, iTunes, and I want to say Pandora first.
Yeah, and actually,
then after a couple months, we ended up getting it on CDs and ordering those,
And,
but it took a while.
If you want to listen to it, the link to it's actually in the description of the video right now.
You can go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. Links to some of their social medias and stuff too. Check them out.
You say if you like some metal, definitely check it out.
Okay, so after you guys recorded the EP, it's out. I kind of want to hear about the tour date. Can you give us like a brief? Can you give me like a brief version of it?
So I'll go into it a little bit. So on the first day, it was a little 5-day tour. It was supposed to go from Texas to Oklahoma City.
And that's a giant deal, dude. That's your guys' first tour.
To Joplin, I want to say. Then down to some place in Arkansas. And then back up to St. Louis for the last one.
So 5
and
days.
Yeah, it was cool. We got added onto this tour. It was our buddies. It was one of the bands that we've been playing with since early on. They're called Silence the Witness. I think they just recently split up.
That sucks.
But I think they got one more show coming up pretty soon. But yeah, they ended up they took us under their wing, so to speak, and kind of added us on at the last 5 days of their tour. They had their tour. They went around the states, but the last 5 days they had us hop on, and we got down. We played the show in Texas, and the show in Texas was a fucking blast. That place was awesome.
Oh, I bet, dude.
There wasn't a whole lot of people there. It was primarily just the bands and the staff, but man, there was such good energy. The whole place was just fun. After that, we ended up going up to Oklahoma City, and our guitarist ended up getting into a wreck at one of the stoplights up there. A guy T-boned him. I don't remember what exactly happened, but somebody pulled off from the light at a bad time, and the other person didn't see him. They kind of just ran into each other like sideways. It wasn't really a T-bone, but it was like a sideways. They kind of turned into each other, if that makes sense. And so that happened, and that totaled the van, which was one of the two vehicles that we were taking on the tour.
So rough, man.
So that was what was carrying half of the band, as well as all of our merch, and then me, Wade, and our bassist at the time, Steven, were driving in the truck with the trailer with all our gear. So all our gear was all right, but got into the wreck, and then after that we had to skip that show because we had to go back to the Airbnb and figure out what the hell we were going to do, how the hell we were going to get back to Missouri from Oklahoma City with one small truck and 6 people that are, full-sized people.
And equipment and merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And we were trying to figure that out. So
and this is all on the tour, like while it's
happening. This was the second night. It was it was rough. It was disheartening to say the least, but I'm glad that we got that kind of shit out of the way on the first tour.
Yeah.
So, and at least it was on a little mini trial run. So we ended up having to skip that show, and we ended up having to skip the next 2. We had to skip Joplin and the Arkansas one.
It's so rough.
And but we got to jump on at the St. Louis one at the last time, and that was a fun show. But anyway, we've been picking up and recuperating, so to speak, and we've been focusing on our music a little bit more, doing shows here and there. Not too long ago, our bassist left, and now we finally just found a new one. And funnily enough, it's the guy who filled in for guitar for the band that took us on the tour. He filled in for guitar on that tour for that band. He came and joined us on bass now. I mean, that band was already, split up a little bit, but he wasn't a part of it to begin with. Again, he was just filling in. But anyway, he's our bassist now, which is pretty nifty. So he's a pretty dope bassist. He's a pretty dope guitarist. Got that hefty bass tone. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's all about the networking, isn't it? Just like anything.
And now we're taking we don't have another show until I think September. Voice crack. Don't have another show until I think September. And in the meantime, we're going to be writing some shit, I think.
This is like your summer off, basically, to kind of make some new material, because that's got to be hard, writing new songs.
Yeah, especially with this album, with the way that we're trying to write this. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of time put into it, and it's going to be very clear that there's already a lot of time put into it.
Oh yeah, especially if you're branching out to new stuff, that new territory. You got to tread carefully. You got to make sure that you're doing everything right. I get it. That's awesome. That's what a story too. You know, I love hearing stories like that. It's fantastic. So what is the do you have any big future plans for it? Like, what is the next step?
I would like to say the next step is releasing this album, and hopefully, with as much work as we put into it as we did, I'm hoping somebody picks up some interest on it and we can get some traction and start getting out of St. Louis, because I would like to play elsewhere and start on like an actual music career where I can, you know, play music for a living, sell merch, shit like that, and I don't have to work a day in, day out, 9-to-5 job. Because, man, I hate that shit.
Yeah, I think we all do, man. I mean, when it comes down to it, they always say, you know, try to monetize your hobbies, you know. So creative people, because Sam, we're both creative people. It's safe to say, but you know, creative people like us, we have, you know, a honed talent or skill at something, and we need to go out and, you know, try to monetize that so we can feed ourselves, obviously, and of course spread the art that we make.
Yeah, and like it's not like I'm trying to fucking make bank or anything. I'm not trying to be like the next richest person in the world or anything like that. I just want enough to survive off the thing that I love doing.
And you know what? That is life, man. That's like the perfect life. Just make it enough to where you can do what you love and you can still pay the bills and live comfortably. That's it. You know, who the fuck wants to be rich? When you got that, you already living rich.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Dude, if I could just tour, that would be so sweet. Because one of the things I want to do more than anything is travel. I do not have the fucking money to travel.
Right.
But when we get picked up by a label, or we end up, you know, getting shit figured out down the road and start getting on bigger tours and bigger shows, hopefully can start making some money off of it and, you know, thrive off it and live off it. Just make a living doing what I love, doing what we love.
I get it, man. And I hope you guys will do it. I have a feeling you will. It's just, you have a lot of momentum behind you. You got good people. And I think
we are all pretty fucking driven to get this thing going.
And that's what it takes. That is what it takes. You know, you got to just go out there and be ambitious about it and just fucking see it and conquer it, basically.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to, you know. And if it doesn't work out with one way, you know, you'll figure out another way, you know, or another way, you know. It's just, you just got to,
keep on going.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's awesome.
You can't let that first band breakup be the last one.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, what if you guys, after the car wreck on the tour, you're like, you know what, this is a bad omen, let's just quit.
No, what we did, we took a break for like 3 or 4 months, got our shit together, got shit figured out, and started playing shows again.
And that's all it takes. That's what all that matters at the end of the day. So the big future plans are hopefully now you have the strong foundation to start hopefully climbing the ladder. That's the plan?
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm wanting to get up there. I'm wanting to play with bands that I listen to.
Oh my God.
That's my goal.
That is the dream, isn't it, for anybody who loves music?
And I already have played with a couple bands that I listen to. Man, that's another one that I might get into for a little bit. It's bands that I fucking listen to that I've gotten to play with. And we got to open up for a couple cool bands. My favorite ones have got to be Psycho Stick. They're a comedic metal band. Fairly popular one, to be honest. Even if you don't know them, you probably at least know their song, Weird Dogs and We Like Socks. There's a video the video's been going around on like Facebook and YouTube and everything. But that band is absolutely incredible, and we've gotten to open up for them twice now. And then another band, they have one of my favorite metal albums, period. They're called The Faceless, and their album Autotheism is just incredible. It is a masterpiece. We got to open up for them, which was pretty fucking mind blowing, to be honest. That was a cool experience. Because it's just like this is one of those bands that inspired me and really influenced my music taste heavily, and I got to open up for them. Like, that's awesome. Pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that is awesome. So are you guys like grizzled vets when it comes to like stage play?
Oh yeah, playing shows is just like second nature at this point.
Comfortable with it, professional crew.
We just get things done easily. We tear down our shit and put it up quick, and we know how long we have to play. So as soon as we get how long we have to play, as soon as they tell us, you get 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 25 minutes, we'll take our songs and be like, okay, these 4 have this many minutes in each of them. This adds up to this. We can play this. Let's do it. And then I try to keep a fairly small amount of speaking in between songs just because I like to, we're a band. We're there to play music.
Yeah.
So I talk a little bit just to get the crowd, jumped up a little bit, or tell them that we have merch, try to sell some shit.
Yeah.
Mostly just
Dude,
doing the music.
I'm pumped up right now. I'm not even in the band. Like, I'm pumped up just listening to it. Like, that's awesome.
It's a fun thing.
I love hearing the passion, man.
It's just awesome. That's all I got to say about it, honestly.
And that's kick-ass. And we're going to end it right there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for listening. My name's Logan.
And my name is Sam.
This has been Podcastaway, and we'll see you next time.
Rock on.
See you later. Sam, I'm glad we handled this in a mature way and came to a conclusion together.
That's right, Logan. Who knew shoe leather was best done medium rare?
Mmm.